who the heck is this guy? He's all cleaned up. Yeah, I know. I clean up pretty good. But anyway, so let's not focus on that. Focusing on actually talking about what I'm working on at the moment. I realized after my last video. Wait a minute. Hold on. That's way better. Okay, anyway, so in my last video, because I saw my last video and I was like, that fake ass fire in the background looks really official. That's like some author stuff right there. I should have like a monocle on and drinking tea and stuff like that. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, what I'm doing. In the last video, I never really talked about the specifics on what I'm doing. So just wanted to give a very short video on what exactly I'm working on. There's more or less about 3 different sections that I'm working on. The first is the fact that Chapter 1, Part 1, technically is done. It follows Galliette, and by the time it ends with her story, and very clear, this is kind of a good stopping point. Then I'm looking to jump into someone else. Bricks. However, Galliette's story has so much more. There's a lot of characters that I'm now introducing and planning on introducing later on. This is in the second and third parts of what I'm going to be talking about, but it's more of a retroactive addition. It's realizing that I'm creating this larger cast, and so even though I'm extraordinarily satisfied with Galliette's story in her part 1, there could be more. There could be more interactions. There could be more stories. There could be more. What I'm basically thinking is that I don't really make it especially clear on what her job is, what she does for the Red House, and I think that's important because she kind of functions sort of as like a guidance counselor. Guiding people along in different paths. She meets with all the instructors. She's very friendly. She's very social. She's very good with people. So, as I mentioned in my story, the Rat House, there are no classes whatsoever. If a student or a child is interested in learning something, it's because more or less Galliette has approached them and talked to them and said, hey, why don't you try this out, or why don't you try this out? And so she'll get with them, she'll get with the instructors, and she'll kind of make that pairing. And if it doesn't work out, totally cool. Nobody worries about that. They can try out as many things in a day as they want. They can flip between different instructors, which is kind of why there's a system that I'm working on where there's definitely a rivalry between the adults in the Rat House where they want their classes as filled as possible. This is them passing on their knowledge, and so there's a lot of pride in having knowledge that other people want to absorb and to expand on. So I think that's a really a cute little side function of my story. I am fucking up with my holding my camera. Hold on, can I double hand this? That's so awkward. But it is more stable. Anyway. Where was I? So yeah, that's more or less the first of the 3 parts that I'm working on is saying, well, yes, I'm happy with this section, but because of the new additions, I might need to change some things. The second is a conversation or an interaction between Galliette and another character who has basically taken up sponsorship. She's in control of a small child. One that Galliette was kind of had her eye on. She was trying to figure out who this new child was. In the situation of my story, if it's kind of an orphanage, and essentially if you stumble upon a child, because there is a way where people will drop them off. There's a kind of an official route, but sometimes they have to just be left there. There's very serious situations behind why that happens, but it's so safe. Everything is really a sweet situation, especially for the youngest. So sometimes they have to just be left there. However, now one of the least expected characters is now the warden of this new child, and so Galliette and this person have an interaction, and I love it. I really like it a lot, but it's so brief. I think it's so bare bones, but for me personally, it feels very natural. She knocks on the door. They get into a conversation. You immediately understand that this other woman does not like Galliet in any way, shape, or form. The dialogue that I've written for them, I'm very happy with, but I still feel like there could be more. So even though that one is short and sweet, as I would imagine it, that's one that I kind of have an asterisk on, knowing that I feel like I do better. I feel like there's a more that could be added into there. I'm just not sure what right now. It's such a, she needed to have a conversation with this woman. She has it. That's it. So we'll see. It may exist as it is. It may change. Definitely will change as I go forward. The third is the child is being left overnight when he first gets there with someone named Chorus, which is one of my favorite characters. I absolutely love this character, and I want them to be involved in just everything. But even if their biggest scene is this current one, that's okay too. I don't mind that too much because I'm loving it so much. But essentially, he has to babysit for Hale, and his best friend, which isn't supposed to be there, but they're always like attached at the hip. He shows up there. I'll say their gimmick. That's fine for me to say. Is that Chorus loves singing. He's someone that knows a lot of songs, and so he's excited to just get in there with this new orphan kid that he. As someone who got to the rat house a little bit later, he has a deeper kind of emotion for the new children, the people that show up, because he knows that if they're there, there has to be something in their past that just, it's not great. So he's very emotionally tied to when there's new little brothers or sisters that are introduced into the household. And he's so mature. He's just a really just a cool guy. But yeah, so his selection for babysitting is essentially twofold. One, Galliet is so freaking smart when she sets things up. That's something that I really like making a note of, because everything that happens with Chorus's story with Hale is kind of expected. Originally, she sets it out as just him and the kid. He sings a couple songs. He keeps them entertained. Kid passes out. That's about it. But it turns into this just gigantic affair, especially because of his friend Pharynx. Pharynx is similar to Chorus, but he doesn't sing as much as he's able to kind of cast his voice out, ventriloquism. He's able to just make tons of different sound effects and things like that. So them pairing together to create this like story and just entertain a small child is just so magical. It's so fun for me to write. But essentially the night, which is supposed to be simple, explodes because there's a bunch of these like young kids that are just so excited about having just a new child in the house that it becomes a party, and they all get introduced. They all introduce themselves into this little to this little kid, and I don't know. I just love that scene so much. I'm really digging into writing that, and that's the one that I'm hoping to spend the most amount of time on, because it feels good to write. It just feels good. Like they're all trying to show off for a 3-year-old, a toddler. They're trying to make this little tiny kid laugh, because as much as this is just a stranger to them, it's their new little brother, and they take it very, very seriously. And that's a scene that I'm just really happy to start writing and just getting into. So that's the stuff that I'm working on. That's the update. Way more satisfying of an update, I think, than the last one.